The hit was clean. 2 bullets for him, 1 for her. Professional, efficient, ruthless. The kind of work that costs 5 million Naira and leaves no witnesses. Except there was a witness, 8 years old, hiding behind a wardrobe, watching everything through a crack in the door. The killers did not know she was there. They swept the house in under 3 minutes, grabbed what they needed, and vanished into the Lagos night. What they left behind was a crime scene that would make even veteran detectives go silent. Chief Emeka Okafor, 52 years old, one of the biggest real estate bosses in Lagos, net worth 5 billion Naira, found face down in his own sitting room, 2 holes in his chest, 1 in his skull, dead before he hit the ground. His wife, Dr. Adaze Okafor, 48 years old, successful cardiologist. He found in the kitchen doorway, 1 bullet, back of the head. She had been running. She almost made it to the back door. Almost. And upstairs in the master bedroom, covered in her mother's blood, was the only survivor, Chisholm Okafor, 8 years old, silent, traumatized, and holding a secret that would expose the most dangerous person in the Okafor family. This is not a story about criminals from the streets. This is not a story about armed robbers or cultists. This is a story about something far more terrifying. Family. The people who know where you sleep. The people who know your weaknesses. The people who smile at your wedding and plan your funeral. Everyone thought they knew who ordered the hit. The broke younger brother, the desperate uncle with gambling debts and dangerous enemies. The obvious suspect, the easy answer. But the truth? The truth was sitting in a mansion in Victoria Garden City, drinking tea, wearing pearls, attending the funeral of the son she had murdered. This is blood money. The story of the grandmother who ordered the hit on her own son, and the 8-year-old girl who brought her down. To understand why Chief Emeka Okafor had to die, you need to understand what he built and who he left behind when he built it. The Okafor family was not always rich. 40 years ago, they were village people from Anambra State, farmers, traders, ordinary Nigerians scratching out a living. But Emeka's father, Chief Obiore Okafor Sr., had a vision. He moved to Lagos in 1975 with nothing but 200 Naira and a ruthless determination to be somebody. Within 20 years, he had built an empire. Real estate, import and export, construction. The Okafor name became synonymous with money in Lagos. And behind every successful man, they say, is a woman. Ngozi Okafor, the matriarch, the real power behind the throne. She was not just Chief Obiore's wife. She was his enforcer, his advisor, his problem solver. When business partners tried to cheat him, she handled it. When competitors got too aggressive, she made them disappear. Not literally, not back then, but close enough. The Okafor Empire had 3 heirs. The firstborn, Chukwudi, was supposed to inherit everything, but Chukwudi died suddenly at age 19. A fever, they said, came out of nowhere, gone in 3 days. Strange timing, people whispered, because Chukwudi had been asking questions about the family finances, about his mother's special projects, about things he was not supposed to know, but nobody investigated. Nobody questioned, and the inheritance passed to the second son, Emeka. Emeka was different from his brother. He did not ask questions. He kept his head down. He built the business even bigger, and he stayed far, far away from his mother's shadow operations. By the time his father died in 2005, the Okafor Empire was worth 3 billion Naira. Emeka inherited 60%. His younger brother Stanley got 20%. And their mother Ngozi got 20% plus a monthly allowance of 150 million Naira per year. For a while, everyone was happy. Or at least, everyone pretended to be. But then Emeka made a mistake. He fell in love. Her name was Adaze, a cardiologist from Imo State. Brilliant, beautiful, independent. And most importantly, she did not take anything from anyone, including her mother-in-law. Ngozi Okafor hated her from the moment they met. Not because Adaze was a bad person, but because Adaze was the first person in 30 years who did not bow to Ngozi's authority. At family meetings, Adaze spoke her mind. When Ngozi made unreasonable demands, Adaze said no. When Ngozi tried to control how Emeka spent his money, Adaze blocked her. And worst of all, Adaze started asking questions. About the family businesses? About where certain funds went? About why Ngozi's charity projects never seemed to produce any actual charity. Ngozi told Stanley one evening that that woman was dangerous, that she was going to destroy the family. Stanley said she was just Emeka's wife. Ngozi's voice went cold. She said no. She was the reason Emeka was forgetting where he came from. The reason he was choosing his little family over his real family. When Emeka and Adazi's daughter Chisom was born, things got worse. Emeka rewrote his will. Everything, the houses, the businesses, the accounts, went into a trust for Chisom. If something happened to Emeka, Adiz would manage the trust until Chisom turned 25. Ngozi got nothing extra. Stanley got nothing extra. Just the daughter and the wife Ngozi despised. That was when Ngozi started planning. Not immediately. She was patient. She had waited before. She could wait again. But 8 years later, when Emeka discovered that Stanley and Ngozi had been secretly siphoning money from the company, when he threatened to cut them both off and press charges, the waiting ended. Now let me stop here, because I know exactly what you are thinking. This old woman? It's her, this grandmother? She ordered the hit on her own son? It sounds impossible. It sounds like something from a movie. But let me tell you something about power. Power does not care about blood. Power does not care about family. Power only cares about survival. And when Ngozi Okafor saw her power slipping away, her money, her influence, her control over the family she had spent 40 years building, she made a choice. A cold, calculated, unforgivable choice. Drop a comment right now. Type cold-blooded if you think she is the most ruthless person in this story. Or type Stanley is worse if you think the brother is still the real villain. And if you have not subscribed yet, do it now. Turn on notifications, because this story is about to get much, much darker. 6 months before the murders, Ngozi called a meeting, not at her house, too risky. She met Stanley at a hotel in Ikeja. Private room, no cameras, no witnesses. Stanley was desperate. He had lost everything in a cryptocurrency scam. 3 billion Naira gone overnight. Now he owed dangerous people 400 million Naira. The kind of people who did not accept payment plans. The kind of people who took fingers first, then hands, then lives. Stanley told her his hands were shaking, that Emeka would not help him, that he had gone to him, begged him, and Emeka had told him he made his bed, and now he must lie in it. Ngozi sipped her tea calmly. She told Stanley his brother had forgotten who made him, that he had forgotten who built the foundation he stood on. Stanley said he was going to die, that those people would kill him. Ngozi set down her cup and told him no, they would not. Not because they were going to solve the problem. Permanently. The plan was simple, elegant even. Emeka and his wife would be eliminated. The will would be contested on grounds of Adaz's tribal status. With both parents dead, Chisom would need a guardian. Stanley would volunteer. The courts would agree. After all, he was family. And as Chisom's guardian, Stanley would control the entire 5 billion Naira estate. Stanley asked quietly what would happen to the girl. Ngozi was silent for a moment. Then she said that children were fragile, that accidents happened, illness struck, that these things could be arranged. Later, when the time was right. Stanley stared at his mother. He had always known she was ruthless, but this was something else entirely. He told her the girl was 8 years old, that she was her granddaughter. Ngozi's eyes were ice. She said Chisom was Adazi's daughter, that that woman's blood ran through her veins, that she would never be an Okafor. Stanley should have walked away. He should have gone to Emeka and confessed everything. He should have chosen his brother over his mother. But 400 million Naira in debt does something to a man's moral compass. Fear does something even worse. He finally asked how it would be done. Ngozi smiled and told him to leave that to her, that she had handled problems like this before. Stanley did not ask what she meant. Deep down, he already knew. Chukwudi, their older brother, the one who died of a sudden fever 30 years ago, the one who had started asking questions. Let me take you back 30 years. Lagos. The Okafor family was rising fast. Chief Obiora had just closed his biggest deal, a government contract worth 500 million Naira. His firstborn son, Chukwudi, was 19 years old. Handsome, smart, ambitious. and increasingly suspicious of his mother. Chukwudi had discovered something: bank accounts in his mother's name, money that should have been in the family business, hundreds of millions of naira hidden, stolen, diverted over years. He confronted her privately. He told her he had found the accounts, that he knew what she had been doing. Ngozi did not blink. She told him he had found nothing. He said he had the documents, that he was going to tell his father. Ngozi's voice went soft, almost gentle. She told him no, he was not. He said she could not stop him. She asked if she could not. 3 days later, Chukwudi developed a fever. It came on suddenly, violently. The doctors were baffled. They tried everything. Nothing worked. Chukwudi Okafor died on the 4th day. He was 19 years old. The official cause of death was listed as acute viral infection of unknown origin. The investigation lasted 2 weeks. No foul play was suspected. What the investigators never found was the traditional medicine woman who had visited the house 3 days before Chukwudi got sick. What they never found was the powder Ngozi had slipped into her son's food. What they never found was the paper trail showing Ngozi had paid the medicine woman 200,000 naira, a fortune in 1994, for her services. Ngozi had killed her own son, her firstborn, to protect her secrets, to maintain her power. And now, 30 years later, she was about to do it again. Ngozi still had contacts from the old days. People who owed her favors, people who knew how to make problems disappear. She reached out to a man known only as the doctor, not a real doctor, a specialist in permanent solutions. He had worked for politicians, businessmen, even military generals. His price was high, 10 million naira, but his work was impeccable. No evidence, no witnesses, no connection to the client. The plan was set for a Tuesday night. Ngozi made sure she had an alibi. She attended a church vigil that started at 8 in the evening. She was seen entering at 8:03. She made sure to greet the pastor personally. At 9:14 in the evening, she slipped out through a side door. Her driver was waiting. The drive to Ikoyi took 11 minutes. At 9:27, a black Toyota Camry pulled up outside the Okafor residence. 2 men got out. They were inside the compound within 90 seconds. The security cameras had been disabled. The security guard had been paid off. The alarm codes had been provided by Stanley. Emeka was in the sitting room watching television. He heard the front door open and assumed it was the housemaid. By the time he realized something was wrong, 2 bullets were already in his chest. The third hit his skull as he fell. Adais was in the kitchen preparing tea. She heard the gunshots and ran for the back door. She made it 3 steps before the bullet caught her in the back of the head. The killers swept the house, looking for valuables, looking for witnesses. But they did not check the master bedroom carefully. They did not see the small figure hiding behind the wardrobe. They did not hear the 8-year-old girl trying not to breathe. At 9:41, the killers left. At 9:47, Ngozi Okafor arrived at the house, not to grieve, not to check on her granddaughter, to make sure the job was done properly. She walked through the house slowly, checked Emeka's body, confirmed dead, checked Adiz's body, confirmed dead. Then she walked upstairs. She stood outside Chisim's bedroom door. She knew the child might be inside. She could have opened the door. She could have made sure there were no witnesses, but she hesitated. Maybe some tiny part of her humanity remained. Maybe she was simply tired, or maybe she assumed the killers had already checked. Whatever the reason, she turned and left. She was back at the church by 10:28, sitting in her seat, singing hymns, as if nothing had happened. But inside that wardrobe, a small girl had seen something. Through the crack in the door, she had seen the feet of the person who came to check on her. Familiar slippers, grandmother's slippers. I need to pause again, because this is the moment everything changes. The grandmother did not just plan the murder. She came to the house that night. She stood outside her granddaughter's door. She made sure her son was really dead. And the only reason she did not finish the job, the only reason Chisim is still alive, is because she assumed no one was watching. But someone was. An 8-year-old girl. Who would remember those slippers for the rest of her life? Comment below and tell me honestly, did you see this coming? Type "knew it" if you suspected the grandmother from the beginning. Or type "shocked" if this twist hit you like a bullet. and subscribe right now, because this story is not over. The grandmother is still free. The detective is still searching, and Chisholm is about to speak. Detective Inspector Remy Lawson had been investigating murders for 16 years. She had seen cruelty that would break ordinary people. But this case felt different. On the surface, it was obvious. Stanley Okafor had motive, massive debts, and a brother who refused to help. Stanley Okafor had means: a burner phone traced to a shoddy, a rental car spotted near the scene. Stanley Okafor had opportunity, no alibi for the night in question. Every piece of evidence pointed to him, too perfectly, too neatly, as if someone wanted the police to find exactly what they found. Remy had learned to trust her instincts, and her instincts were screaming that something was wrong. She started digging deeper, not just into Stanley, into the entire Okafor family, going back decades. And what she found made her sit down slowly. Chukwudi Okafor died 1994, age 19, sudden fever, no investigation, no autopsy, buried within 3 days. Then she found the financial records, hidden accounts in Ngozi Okafor's name, dating back 40 years, money diverted from the family business, hundreds of millions of Naira, enough to fund a small army or pay for very professional killers. Then she checked Ngozi's alibi. Church vigil, 8 in the evening to midnight, perfect alibi. Except the church entrance camera told a different story. Ngozi arrived at 8:03. Ngozi left at 9:14. Ngozi returned at 10:28. 1 hour and 14 minutes unaccounted for. The Okafor house was 11 minutes away. Remy put down the file and told her partner to get her everything on the grandmother. Every call, every transaction, every person she had met in the last 6 months. Her partner asked if she thought the grandmother was involved. Remy looked at the family photograph on her desk. Ngozi Okafor smiling in the center. The perfect grandmother. She said slowly that she thought the grandmother had been involved for a lot longer than anyone knew. 6 days after the murders, Chisholm Okafor spoke her first words. She asked to speak to the detective, the one her father had talked about. The honest police, she called her. Remy arrived within 20 minutes. She sat beside the small girl in the hospital bed. The child looked older than 8. Trauma had aged her overnight. Remy spoke gently. She told Chisholm she did not have to say anything that hurt, but that if she saw something that night, she needed to know. Chisholm was quiet for a long moment. Then she spoke. She said she was hiding behind her wardrobe, like Daddy had shown her. After the loud sound stopped, someone came upstairs. Remy kept her voice calm and asked if she had seen them. Chisholm said no, but she saw their feet, through the crack. Remy asked what kind of feet. Chisholm whispered, "Slippers, the kind Grandma wears." The room went completely silent. Remy felt the world shift beneath her. She asked softly if Chisholm was sure. Chisholm nodded. She said Grandma had those slippers, white with gold. She wore them every time she visited. Tears started rolling down the child's face. She asked if Grandma had hurt Mommy and Daddy. Remy took the little girl's hand and told her she was going to find out exactly what happened, that she promised her, and that whoever did this was going to pay. Stanley Okafor broke on the 4th day of interrogation. When Remy laid out the phone records, the rental car, the financial desperation, he crumbled, but not the way she expected. He said he would tell her everything, but he needed her to understand he had not planned this. He had not wanted this. He was just in too deep and could not get out. She told him to start from the beginning. He laughed bitterly and said the beginning was 30 years ago, when his mother killed their brother. The story poured out of him. The secret accounts, Chukwudi's discovery, the sudden fever. 30 years of watching his mother manipulate, control, and destroy anyone who got in her way. He said he went to her when he was in trouble. He thought she would give him money from those hidden accounts. Instead, she gave him a choice. Help her eliminate Emeka or handle his debt problems alone. Remy said he chose to help her. Stanley said he chose to survive. His voice cracked. He said the people he owed money to did not negotiate. They did not give extensions. He was a dead man walking. She told him he had decided to make his brother a dead man instead. Stanley's head dropped. He said his mother handled everything. She had the contacts, the plan. He just provided access, the security codes, the guard's payment, the timing. Remy asked about the night of the murders. He said he was at a hotel in Ikea establishing his alibi. His mother told him to make sure he was seen, so he was. She asked if he was at the house. He said no, he could not be there for that. She told him his mother was. He looked up sharply. She told him Ngozi left the church vigil at 9:14 and returned at 10:28. Over an hour unaccounted for. And his niece saw her slippers outside her bedroom door. Stanley's face went pale. He said she told him she stayed at the church the whole time. Remy said she lied. He asked why she would go to the house herself. That was not how these things worked. You stayed away. You kept your hands clean. Remy said slowly that maybe she wanted to make sure it was done right. Or maybe she was planning to eliminate one more witness. Stanley realized what she meant. His mother had stood outside Chisholm's door, the only survivor, the only witness. If she had opened that door, he whispered that she was going to kill the child too. Remy said probably, but something stopped her. Maybe she heard police sirens. Maybe she ran out of time. Stanley put his head in his hands and asked what they had done. They came for Ngozi Okafor on a Thursday morning. In 8 police vehicles, 20 officers, armed response unit. When Detective Remy Lawson walked up the driveway of the Victoria Garden City Mansion, Ngozi was sitting on her veranda, drinking tea, wearing pearls, the picture of elegant innocence. Ngozi greeted her pleasantly and offered tea. Remy identified herself formally and told Ngozi Okafor she was under arrest for the murders of Chief Emeka Okafor and Dr. Adisi Okafor. She said she was also being investigated for the historic murder of Chukwudi Okafor in 1994. For the first time, something flickered across Ngozi's face. Not fear, recognition. The recognition of a predator meeting another predator. She said calmly that Remy had found out about Chukwudi, that she had always wondered if someone eventually would. Remy asked if she was denying it. Ngozi stood slowly and smoothed her dress. She asked what would be the point, that Remy clearly had Stanley's testimony, and probably that girl's. She spat the word like it was poison. She said her granddaughter. What a joke. She was never family, just another obstacle. Remy stepped closer and told her she had killed her own sons, her firstborn and her middle child, for money, for power, for control. Ngozi held out her wrist for the handcuffs and said coldly that she had built the family. Every Naira, every property, every connection. She built it while her husband took the credit. She protected it while her sons tried to waste it. And when they threatened to destroy everything she had created, yes, she removed them. Remy told her they were her children. Ngozi said they were disappointments. As the handcuffs clicked into place, Ngozi did not struggle, did not cry, did not beg. She walked to the police vehicle like a queen being escorted to her throne. Her last words to Remy were delivered over her shoulder. She told her the girl would never be safe, that she had friends, even in prison, especially in prison. Remy's jaw tightened. She told her that sounded like a threat. Ngozi smiled and said it was a promise. The trial lasted 8 months. Every newspaper in Nigeria covered it. The grandmother of death. Blood money inside the Okafor family murders. She killed her own sons, the Ngozi Okafor story. Stanley Okafor pleaded guilty in exchange for testimony against his mother. He received 25 years, no parole. Ngozi Okafor pleaded not guilty. She maintained her composure through every witness, every piece of evidence, every photograph of her dead son. Honorary, she never cried. She never apologized. She sat in the dock like she was attending a boring business meeting. The jury deliberated for 6 hours. When they returned, the foreman's voice was steady. On the charge of first-degree murder of Chief Emeka Okafor, guilty. On the charge of first-degree murder of Dr. Adise Okafor, guilty. On the charge of conspiracy to commit murder, guilty. On the charge of the 1994 murder of Chukwudi Okafor, guilty. Ngozi Okafor was sentenced to life imprisonment without the possibility of parole. She was 72 years old. She would die in prison. As she was led from the courtroom, she looked directly at her granddaughter Chisholm, sitting in the gallery. Their eyes met. Chisholm did not look away. She held her grandmother's gaze until Ngozi was gone. The monster had been caged. But the nightmares would last much longer. Chisholm Okafor was placed with her maternal aunt. Dr. Funke Adeleke, Adaizi's sister, became her guardian. She was a good woman, a loving woman, the kind of family Chisholm deserved. The 5 billion Naira estate remained in trust, protected by the courts. Every property, every account, every investment. Waiting for Chisholm when she turned 25. Ngozi's hidden accounts were seized. The money was distributed to charities supporting orphan children. It seemed fitting somehow. As for Ngozi's threat, her friends in prison, it never materialized. Detective Remy made sure of that. She called in every favor, spoke to every warden, made it very clear that if anything happened to Chisholm Okafor, there would be consequences for everyone involved. Chisholm went back to school 3 months after the trial. She had therapy twice a week. She had nightmares that took years to fade. But she also had something else. She had survived. She had spoken up. And she had brought down the most dangerous person in her family at 8 years old. On the first anniversary of her parents' deaths, Chisholm visited their graves. She placed 2 white roses on the headstones, one for her father, one for her mother, and she made a quiet promise. She told them she was going to be okay, that she was going to live a good life, a full life, and that when she was old enough, she was going to help other kids who lost their parents. She promised. Then she turned and walked away, head up, eyes forward. Her father's daughter, her mother's daughter, a survivor. This story is about many things. It is about greed so deep it consumes everything it touches. It is about power so corrupting it turns mothers into murderers. It is about family, the people we trust most, becoming the people we should fear most. But more than anything, this story is about one simple truth. Evil does not always look like a monster. Sometimes it looks like a grandmother, drinking tea, wearing pearls, smiling at Christmas dinners. The most dangerous people in our lives are not strangers. They are the ones who know where we sleep, the ones who know our secrets, the ones we would never suspect. Watch your back, trust carefully, and remember, blood means nothing to those who value money more. This was Blood Money, the story of the grandmother who ordered the hit on her own son and the 8-year-old girl who survived to bring her down. Before you go, I need to know 2 things from you. First, did the grandmother twist shock you, or did you see it coming? Comment shocked or knew it below. I want to see how many of you figured it out before Detective Remy did. Second, drop your country in the comments and tell me what kind of story you want next. Another crime thriller? A love story? A story of betrayal? A story of someone rising from nothing? This channel exists for you. Tell me what you need and I will deliver it. And if this story kept you gripped from the first second to the very last word, share it right now with someone who loves dark crime stories, because they are about to lose sleep tonight. Subscribe if you have not already, because this is what we do here. Stories that grab you and do not let go. Until the next story, trust no one. And never underestimate a grandmother with a secret.